Welcome back. Yes, we have a lot of hockey tonight. We have 4 games starting at 4 o'clock Pacific, 7 o'clock Eastern. So we're in for a big night, and this is also the start of some home and homes we're going to be seeing between now and the New Year's. Actually, I like that scheduling a lot. I think that's nice. I'm a big fan though of home and homes because I like rivalries. I like to see rematches. I think that makes hockey more fun, which is why I'm a big fan of a schedule which makes rivalries seem more important and builds them up a little bit. So we'll see when Seattle comes in if we have a schedule that leans more towards it or more of a dilution into everybody just plays everybody and you see other teams a lot less. And I don't know. I think the NHL loses something that way. But anyways, Boston and Buffalo, old rivalries. This is an old Adams Division rivalry back from the 80s. And that was when they were both pretty darn good teams. And yeah, you had Gilbert Perreault's team against Ray Bourque's team, and they're pretty good. Now, the 22-7-9 Boston Bruins. People are going to look at that record and say, well, they're playing really well. They're not. Over their last 10, they're 2-4-4. So they're not playing really well. Buffalo, they're 17-14-7. People are going to look at that record and say, well, Buffalo, it's kind of mediocre. Kind of. 4-4-2 in their last 10. They've won 2 more games in their last 10 than Boston has. So, right? This is why when people look at the power rankings and go, oh, Boston's too low, I'm going, if anything, Boston's too high. They were 12th on the power rankings on Saturday. Now, they've met once this year, which was a 3-2 win for Boston at home. Their next meeting after this will again be in Boston on the 29th. So 2 days from now, they will meet again in Boston. Now, scoring leaders. Well, no, they're not scoring leaders. I didn't end up doing that this time. I went with 3 forwards, 2 defensemen, and then the goaltenders and their numbers over the last 5 games. Pastrnak, 2 goals, 6 assists in their last 5 games. Krejci, 2 goals, 4 assists. Corrali with 3 helpers. Corrali's a very useful player for them. He's one of those depth guys. And it's weird because Pasta has 8 points in their last 5 games, and yet they've only won 2 out of their last 10. So they've really got to get it going. McAvoy, 2 assists. Krug, 1 goal, 5 assists in their last 5 games. On the goaltending front, Halak and Rask both have decent numbers, not fantastic. Rask is 1-0-2 with a .900 save percentage in their last 5. Halak is 1-0-1 with a .903 save percentage. Buffalo, Eichel has 2 goals and 3 assists in their last 5 games. Skinner has 1 assist. He's got to get better. And Sherry also has 1 assist. And again, I've mentioned this before. He's kind of prominent in their games. He just doesn't get very many points. Dahlin, 1 goal, 3 assists on the blue line in their last 5. And Ristolainen with a goal and an assist. And again, there will always be questions about whether or not Risto might be the defenseman that ends up getting moved in order to get some help up front, and how that might change the makeup of the team. In net, Ullmark's 1-2-1 with a .903 save percentage over their last 5. Hutton is 0-1 with a .793 save percentage. So the overall numbers, not too bad for Buffalo, but again, they're at home. I think Buffalo should have a good shot tonight. I do. I think their chances are too bad at all. All right, moving along. Toronto Maple Leafs in against New Jersey. So again, 4 o'clock Pacific, 7 o'clock Eastern. The Toronto Maple Leafs 20-14-4. Not too bad of a record. And over their last 10, they're 7-3. And they've been on a nice little winning streak of their own. Now on the New Jersey side, they're 12-19-5. And over their last 10, they're 3-6-1. But you get the feeling New Jersey's better. That things for New Jersey are getting somewhat better. And don't worry, if any teams lose tonight, I'm sure people are going to say they're distracted because fireworks are coming up for the 1st. So we had the pre-Christmas excuse, so those games didn't count. So New Jersey's 7-1 win the other night, where I only counted 6 goals. I was sick. That's the only reason I could see that I would have missed that goal. I just felt like crap. But yeah, 3-6-1 New Jersey. I think they're getting better. I do. We'll see whether or not they are. This is the first meeting between these teams. They will meet again on January 14th. That game will be in Toronto. Over their last 5 games, Austin Matthews, 5 goals, 4 assists for the Leafs. Tavares, 1 goal and 3 assists. Nylander, 3 goals and 2 assists. On the blue line, Tyson Barrie, 1 goal, 3 assists, and Riley has 3 helpers. So Barrie continues to produce under Sheldon Keefe in a way that he was not going to produce under Mike Babcock. In net, Anderson's got 4 wins with an .899 save percentage. Hutchinson has 1 win with a .967 save percentage, and I would expect to see Hutchinson pretty quick here because, honestly, he won his last game. He should feel pretty good. They should strike while the iron is hot and give Anderson more rest. I can't stress enough how important it is goaltenders get rest. You look at the 2 goalies who went to the finals last year. It was Rask on one side, Binnington on the other. Binnington had a pretty chill, pretty relaxed first half of the season before he played a lot in the second half as the starter for the Blues. And for Rask, he had plenty of rest because Halak was playing a ton and playing pretty well. So if they can get Hutchinson going, it gives them a better chance of doing something in the playoffs should they make them, and they should. Now, on the New Jersey front, Palmieri, 3 goals and 1 assist in their last 5. Gusev has 6 assists. Hughes, 1 goal, 1 assist. I still think Jack Hughes is going to end up having decent numbers this year, even if there's going to be people writing him off as a bust. That's what's going to happen, but he's not. On the blue line, Subban with a goal and an assist in his last 5 games. That's worth getting married over right there. I get a goal and an assist. Severson, 1 goal, 3 assists for him. In net, Blackwood, 3 wins and 1 loss, a .932 save percentage. And Sen, 0-1 with a .902 save percentage in the appearance he had. So, things overall for the New Jersey Devils, I think, are getting better. Look, Blackwood, 3-1 in their last 5. That's not too bad. So, they're coming out of what I think was the darkest period New Jersey's had, and they've had a lot of dark periods. So, I'll just say over the last 5 years, I would think. This was their darkest period. I'm not even going to get near the 80s. The 80s was just, it was not a good time for New Jersey. Next up, mostly until Sean Burke arrived out of nowhere. Now, Carolina. The Hurricanes go in against the New York Rangers tonight. The Rangers need to stay in the race, and it's going to be difficult for them. And let's just be honest, it's going to be difficult for them. Very young, enjoyable team in New York, and you can see what they're doing, and you can see kind of how this is going to go. Chris Kreider may very well find his way out of the city in order to add more prospects / draft picks and that kind of thing. And I think Kreider's having a decent enough season, they may get a good return for him. Now, these teams are not strangers to one another. They met November 7th. The Rangers won in Carolina November 7th. November 27th, the Rangers then won at home against Carolina 3-2. So, 2 wins for the Rangers. They could very well win tonight. Their last meeting of the year will be February 21st at Carolina. So, this is a team that the Rangers know they can beat. But on the Carolina side, Jordan Staal is getting it together. 2 goals, 2 assists in their last 5 games. Aho, 3 goals, 2 assists. And Neches, 2 goals, 3 assists in their last 5 games. I do see that Martin Neches is having a very good year, but there are certain rookies that seem to be dominating the picture right now. In net, or not in net, we're doing the defense first. Hamilton, a goal and 4 assists in their last 5. Pesci with 2 assists. Mrazek, 1 and 2 with an .872 save percentage in their last 5. And Reimer's 2-0 with a .940 save percentage. So Reimer's letting them know, I would like to have more starts, please, by not allowing goals. That's a good way to do it. On the Rangers side of it, Zibanejad, 3 goals, 4 assists in their last 5. Strome, a goal and 2 assists. Howden with a goal. On the blue line, Brady Shea with a goal and 2 assists. DeAngelo with 3 helpers. And then Georgiev with 2 losses in their last 5 games. .855 save percentage. Lundqvist, 1-1-1 with a .902 save percentage in their last 5 games. So, on the Rangers front right now, things are going, well, 1 win in their last 5 isn't fantastic. 4-5-1 in their last 10 is, that needs to improve. And they're in the Metro. But if they can beat Carolina tonight, that hurts Carolina a little bit in the standings. So, for the Rangers, they're kind of already playing spoiler, but we're not halfway through the season, so should watch, that kind of terminology at this point. But it's hard not to look at this matchup and say the Rangers at 17-15-4. Highly unlikely they suddenly go on a run and make the playoffs. There are a lot of people wondering what they're going to do with Lundqvist. I don't know. I know Lundqvist has 0 interest in being traded. I think he retires as a Ranger, and I've heard a lot of press and just people in general thinking this might be his last year in the NHL. So we'll see what ends up happening with them at the deadline. They're going to be one of those teams to watch because I don't know how many sellers we're actually going to see. I should do a video on that soon because people are going to be like, we don't know. How can we know? That's always a fun conversation, isn't it? All right, that being said, moving along. Columbus. The Columbus Blue Jackets in against the Washington Capitals. This has been a matchup that has really benefited the Columbus Blue Jackets thus far in the season. And for Columbus, they are trying to get themselves back into the race. I stated they were 7 points out. Everybody lost their minds and said they're 6 points out. What are you talking about? 6 points, 7 points. They're still, the math for them getting back into the playoffs, it's not great in their favor. They need somebody ahead of them to really, really cool off. And I'm not sure that Carolina's the team. I don't know that Philadelphia's the team either. And they also need to keep winning like they've been winning. So it's going to be tricky for them. They're 17, 14, and 6. In their last 10, they're 6, 2, and 2. On the Washington side of things, they're 26, 7, and 5. But over their last 10, they're 7, and 3. Now, of those three, it's very possible both of the games they've played against these teams are among those three. December 9th, Columbus beat Washington 5-2 in Washington. And then December 16th, a week later, Columbus wins at home 3-0. Their last meeting will be March 19th at Columbus. So for Washington, this is a game they have to get up for. I understand that they're not really in a whole lot of danger of losing their first place position, but you can't keep losing to a divisional rival like this. One that, if they make the playoffs, you could end up playing in the first round. And you don't want to be looking at them in the first round and going, we lost all 4 games against them this year. If we'd beaten them once, we would be facing them right now. So, on the Columbus side of things, over their last 5 games, Nyquist, 2 goals and 4 assists. Dubois also has 2 goals and 4 assists. Texier, who I like that kid a lot, 4 assists for him right now in their last 5. Seth Jones, 5 assists, and Werenski with 2 goals and 2 assists. It makes a large difference with Werenski back in this lineup. Korpisalo has been very busy over their last 5 games. All 5 wins and a .941 save percentage. On the Washington side of things, Backstrom, 3 goals, 3 assists. Vrana with 3 helpers. Eller, 2 goals and 2 assists. On the blue line, Carlson, 1 goal, 2 assists. Gudas with a goal and 3 assists. In net, Holtby, 1 win, 2 losses, .864 save percentage. Samsonov, 2 wins and an .898 save percentage. So those overall goaltending numbers are not great, and yet somehow they're 3-2 in their last 5. The game against Boston, though, definitely hurt goaltender numbers right there, and that doesn't count. So, according to all the announcers that I watched that night, those games don't count. Right before Christmas doesn't count. So, I guess those numbers don't necessarily count. Unless a player's playing really well, in which case that counts. I don't know, it's really weird. Anyways, that being said, I need to change boards. So after we get through the 4 games that start at 4 o'clock my time, 5 o'clock East, or 7 o'clock Eastern, we get into the ones that start at 5 o'clock my time, 8 o'clock Eastern. So there's 3 of those, and then there's one that starts at the bottom of the hour at 5:30 my time, 8:30 Eastern. So Pittsburgh's in Nashville first, and this, of course, is a rematch of the 2017 Stanley Cup Final. 21-11-4 is the record for the Pittsburgh Penguins, who over their last 10 are 7-3. And if you cheer for a team that's had some injury problems, Pittsburgh will say, you can call those problems. And on the Nashville side, Nashville's 18-12-6. Over their last 10, they're 6-2-2. This is their first meeting, and their next meeting is tomorrow in Pittsburgh. So tomorrow in Pittsburgh, they will end a home and home. I would think by the end of tomorrow night's game, they may have reacquainted themselves a little bit. That being said, I don't know how many players are going to be playing for either team that were in that 2017 final. Pittsburgh, due to injury and a lot of changes that have gone on. And on the Nashville front, it might be a large number, but I mean, you've had trades and free agent moves and whatnot. It may not be as spirited as, say, the 2017 final. Now, this is in Nashville, so I would expect Rene tonight. Tomorrow night, I would expect Saros in Pittsburgh because Rene's numbers in Pittsburgh aren't normally very good. So, Rust is a guy with 4 goals and 3 assists in his last 5 games. He's a pretty good player. I don't know if you've heard of him. McCann, a goal and 2 assists in their last 5. And Teddy Bluger, a goal and an assist for 2 points. On the blue line, Letang, 2 goals, 5 assists. Pettersson with 3 helpers. In net, Murray, 1 loss and a .714 save percentage. Jari has 4 wins and a .942 save percentage. On the Nashville side, Johansson, 2 goals, 4 assists in his last 5 games. Duchesne has 3 helpers. I think all 3 of those were in the same game. Craig Smith, 3 goals, 2 assists. He's been pretty good lately. On the blue line, Yossi's been fantastic, 7 goals and 2 assists, and Ellis 2 goals, 5 assists. A lot of the offense from Nashville is driven by their blue line, which should surprise nobody when you look at their history. Over their last 5, Rene's 3-0 with a .911 save percentage. Saros is 1-0-1 with an .892 save percentage. Again, these teams know each other pretty darn well. I would expect by the end of tomorrow night, things will get kind of spirited. So this could be a game that sees a ton of goals. I'm just going to throw that out there. If Murray's in net, we could see a ton of goals because he's had a rough time. If Jari's in net, he's overdue for a game that may look more standard average because he looks like Superman over the last couple of weeks. So he does every now and then have, because every goaltender does have one of those games where he allows 4, 5, 6 goals. Maybe tonight's the night. Maybe tonight I need all the big numbers off my number board, and we can have a discussion about that. And of course, like I said, Rene in Pittsburgh has problems, so I would expect him to play tonight. And he's had some down games this season as well. It's going to be a fun one. All right, moving along. St. Louis is in against Winnipeg. So the St. Louis Blues at 24-8-6 over their last 10. They're 7-3. St. Louis is just cruising, absolutely cruising through this season, and cup hangover. Who needs that? Tarasenko's out. Oh well, we could cry about it, but we're just going to win instead. So the Winnipeg Jets, meanwhile, are 21-14-2 over their last 10. They're 5-4-1. This is the thing with Winnipeg. If they finish with 5 wins in every 10 games from here, they probably make the playoffs. You know, you sprinkle in some overtime loss points. They're still gaining ground on that whole over NHL 500 thing. And right now they're seven games above. So right now, if they played 500 hockey from here, they'd end up with 89 points. That doesn't make the playoffs. But if you add, say, 4 or 5 overtime loss points, you end up with 93, 94 points. That might very well get you there. This is their first meeting. Their next meeting is in 2 days in St. Louis. Like I said, there's some home and homes coming up. Now, over the last 5 games, Jaden Schwartz with 2 goals, 4 assists. He's already equaled his goal total from last year. I knew he was due for a bounce back. I'm pretty sure I mentioned that in a lot of videos during the summer. Perron, 3 goals, 4 assists for him. Thomas, 3 helpers. On the blue line, Pietrangelo, 2 goals, 3 assists. None of us have any idea if Pietrangelo's playing out the whole year in St. Louis, if he's going to extend, if they're going to make moves to extend him, or what's going to happen, but it's going to be interesting to watch. Dunn, 2 goals and 2 assists on the blue line as well. In net, Binnington's 3-0 over their last 5 with a .925 save percentage. Allen's 2-0 with a .958 save percentage. Not bad. On the Winnipeg front, Laine, 5 goals over their last 5 games. He's back. Here we go. Now, there's no assists on there, so is this where it's going to start? Wheeler, 2 goals and 5 assists in his last 5. And Lowry with 2 assists. On the blue line, Morrissey has 5 assists, and Pionk, 6 assists in his last 5 games. Proud to see that. Now, in goal, Hellebuck, 2-2 with an .898 save percentage. Brossoit, 0-1 with an .868 save percentage. So, the goaltending numbers need to come up. You've got St. Louis coming in. That would tell you that's not likely to happen tonight. But an old rivalry from last year's first round is revisited starting tonight, and they play each other. They're in the Central, so they should be playing each other 5 times, and this is their first meeting. So Winnipeg and St. Louis from here on are going to play a large role in deciding where the other team finishes in the standings, and having a really good record against that team could help them out a lot. The fact that they could end up, let's say Winnipeg wins 3 out of 5 and loses 1 in overtime, that could end up pushing them not only into the picture for the division, but maybe they end up winning it. And then we all just say, we have no idea. None. But this is going to be an interesting one tonight because you've got 2 teams that are pretty good at scoring and 2 teams that know each other pretty well. And as far as I remember, by the end of that series, they didn't like each other very much either. You would almost think that familiarity breeds contempt. Almost, but I don't believe that. Next up, if that was true, then some of the guys I saw at the meetup yesterday I've seen before, we just would have started fighting right off the bat. Which would be entertaining, but still. Minnesota in against Colorado. This one's going to be hopefully close. Now, it's funny because this year so far these games have been close. So a series that last year and in recent years, some of the games have not been very close at all. Right now it's a series that has been pretty evenly matched. Now, 18, 15, and 5 is the record for Minnesota. Over their last 10, they're 5, 4, and 1. They were flirting with getting into a playoff spot, still kind of are, and we'll see if they're able to actually jump into one against a team like Colorado, who are 23, 11, and 3. Over their last 10, they're 6, 3, and 1. So for Colorado, this is a pretty good matchup for them. On October 5th in Colorado, the Avalanche win this game 4-2. On November 21st in Minnesota, the Wild won 3-2. So if this holds true, then Colorado should win tonight. Their next meeting is February 9th in Minnesota. So it's going to be a while before these teams see each other again. Stahl has 3 goals and 3 assists in his last 5 games for Minnesota. Fiala, 2 goals and 2 assists. And Cunnin with 2 goals and an assist. And honestly, he's played better than that would tell you. Luke Cunnin has been very good for Minnesota. I think he could end up putting up some decent numbers in the second half of the season. Suter, a goal and 4 assists on the blue line. Brodin with 2 helpers. In net, Dubnyk is 2-0 with a .925 save percentage. Stalock 0-2 with an .842 save percentage. So Devin Dubnyk looks like he's stealing his job back. Like, all right, thanks, Alex, for holding down the fort. I'll take care of it from here. Now, on the Colorado side of things, Landeskog, 2 goals and 2 assists in his last 5 games. Kadri with 2 goals. Calvert also has 2 goals. On the blue line, Gerard with 3 assists. And Ian Cole with a goal and 3 assists for 4 points in their last 5 games. Grubauer's 0-3 with a .904 save percentage. Francouz, 2 wins with a .938 save percentage. That kid's pretty good. So, I would go with him. Especially since Grubauer's lost all 3 of his most recent appearances. So, I would go with Francouz. I think he should play the lion's share of games from here. No offense to Grubauer, but you've got to go with the guy who gives you the best chance to win. And right now, it's the Czech goalie, Francouz. He's Czech, right? I'm pretty sure he's Czech. I asked that like people are going to answer me in real time and then go, you can't actually hear me, which I can't. And I'm sorry. We don't have that technology yet to do preview video and have people answering me in real time. That'd be a nightmare to do a live chat for a preview. With the time delay, it would just be an absolute. It would be a nightmare anyways. But anyways, yeah, Francouz, I would think, starting goalie from here. Let me know if you're a Colorado fan, if you think it's Francouz is the better goaltender, or just Grubauer hasn't had any luck lately. There you go. Next up, last one on this board is the Islanders in against the Chicago Blackhawks. The Islanders are 23-9-3. Over their last 10, they're 5-4-1. They're going to have their downbeats during the year, and if this is one of those downbeats, that's just fine. They weren't supposed to be this good, and I think they've overachieved to this point, and I would expect them to come back with some kind of a fire probably early in January. So if they have another down game tonight, again, still not really any reason to panic. Now Chicago, 15, 17, and 6. Over their last 10, they're 4-5-1. Chicago has the same problems they've had for a while. Now with DeHaan's not coming back. So DeHaan went from he's going to be out for a while to forget him for this season. Seabrook's not coming back, which some Hawks fans think is great, and that's fine. And Saad's going to be out for a few weeks as well. But even healthy, I don't know that Chicago is necessarily a playoff team. So this is the first meeting they've had with the Islanders. Their next meeting will be April 2nd in New York. So, yeah, this should be an interesting matchup between teams that aren't overly familiar. And tonight, we'll see how much they don't like each other by the end of the night. We'll see if Robin Lehner ends up sending a message to Barry Trotz. Maybe Lehner gets a shutout. We'll see. Now, over their last 5 games, Barzal, 3 goals, 2 assists for the Islanders. Nelson, 2 goals and 3 assists. And Brassard with a goal and 2 helpers. On the blue line, Pulock, a goal and 2 assists. Leddy also has a goal and 2 assists. Grice is 0-2 with an .840 save percentage. Varlamov is 2-0-1 with an .881 save percentage. They finally didn't do the rotating goalies thing the other night because Grice has 2 losses in his last 2 games for an .840 save percentage. So Barry Trotz felt he had to go with the better goaltender, which right now is Varlamov. We'll see if that happens again tonight. On the Chicago front, Kane, 5 goals and 4 assists, 9 points in his last 5 games. Taves, a goal and 5 assists, and DeBrincat with 1 assist. DeBrincat's probably the most disappointing Blackhawk this season, I would think. Coming off of a 40-plus goal season last year and just looking like an absolute beast out there for most shifts and games. And now, I don't know. I don't know where DeBrincat ends up. I mean, I would think that those numbers come back next season because it's kind of too late for him to get anywhere near 40 goals this year. But I don't know. Maybe it was just a really fantastic year he had last year. On the blue line, Gustafsson a goal and 2 assists. Murphy also has a goal and 2 assists in their last 5 games. Crawford's 0-2 with an 873 save percentage. Leonard's 3-0 with a 915 save percentage. Leonard's the guy right now. And there are going to be some questions asked about Crawford as his contract is expiring, about whether or not he retires. Does he get traded? Does he potentially go somewhere else? I wouldn't think he goes anywhere else. I would think he gives them a discount in negotiations and maybe accepts a role as a backup. Or if we're still looking at a Crawford who's fighting various ailments from everything he's been through over the years, maybe he does hang it up at the end of the year. That being said, I need to change boards one last time. All right, now at 6 o'clock Pacific time, 9 o'clock Eastern, the Calgary Flames are in against the Edmonton Oilers. And for the Flames, I really think they're going to end up being in the playoffs, and I would not be surprised if they get home ice advantage. But the Pacific is so all over the place. And this is a game where Edmonton, if they're going to wake up, the start of the Battle of Alberta, this being their first meeting, now's a good time. The Calgary Flames are 19-15-5 over their last 10. They're 6-3-1. And sometimes they look like, yep, contenders, these guys are going to be great. And other nights it's like, wow, what is going on with these guys? So, on the Edmonton side of things, they're 20-16-4. Over their last 10, they're 3-6-1. But Edmonton, again, much like Calgary, there are nights where they look really good, and there are nights where they don't. The Oilers do have more of the top-heavy lineup than does the Calgary Flames. Calgary's more adept at spreading out the offense, and yet they don't score as many goals. So, as far as when these teams are going to meet again, as I said, this is their first meeting of the year. Their next meeting will be January 11th in Calgary. They will become very familiar with each other, playing each other 4 times this season over the remainder of the year. Monahan has a goal and an assist in the last 5 games for Calgary. Tkachuk, 2 goals, 3 assists, and Derek Ryan with a goal and a helper. Giordano with 1 assist, Hanifin with 1 assist, Talbot's 0-2 with a 938 save percentage. That doesn't look great, does it? The 0-2, people are like, oh yeah, that's Talbot. 938 save percentage? That's a shame. He's not getting goal support then. He hasn't. Riddick 1-1-1 with a 920 save percentage. Now on the Edmonton side of things, McDavid a goal and 4 assists in his last 5 games. Nugent Hopkins a goal and an assist. And Archibald with a goal and 2 assists. Nugent Hopkins needs to step up a little bit more offensively, take some of that weight off that top line, and give teams something else to worry about. That's the thing with Edmonton. Don't make it so that they could just key on 2 guys and shut them down, and then you're good. Now on the blue line, Clefbaum with a goal in his last 5 games, and Ethan Bear with 2 helpers. In net, Koskinen's 2-2 with a 932 save percentage. He's definitely their starter. Smith's 0-1 with an 840 save percentage. I was arguing with the TV the other night because they were talking about, when Smith signed there, he probably thought he was going to be the starter. And I'm like, they just paid $4.5 million a year for Koskinen. That wouldn't have been what he was thinking at all. But, much like YouTube videos, the TV doesn't listen to me either. So, this should be the big old Battle of Alberta. This may very well be the game we're all talking about after it's done tonight. And I expect some dislike and distrust between these teams. Not a whole lot of happiness, although there could be a lot of hugging, as my wife would put it. There's a lot of hugging going on in this game. They don't like each other very much. There's a lot of angry hugging going on. Because there aren't a lot of fights, so it's just the guys all just scrum together, and it just looks like they're all hugging each other. All right, next up. Vegas is in against Anaheim tonight. This game starts at 7 o'clock my time, 10 o'clock Eastern. Now, on the Vegas side of things, they're 20-14-6. Over their last 10, they're 5-3-2. It's been a mixed bag with a lot of teams, hasn't it? This is why they talk about like the dog days of December and January, because you will see teams that just go through like this mediocre period and then they just come right out of it. Then we come out after the trade deadline and teams have emerged as contenders. Some have fallen way off. And what happens during this time of year can be kind of brushed off on some level as that's the way it works. It was the dog days of the year. On the Anaheim side, they're 15-18-4. In their last 10, they're 4-6. So pretty good record for them overall over their last 10. I guess with the 4 wins. They didn't lose any in regulation, if they're in overtime, I should say. So if they'd lost one after regulation, Be 4-5-1. I'm trying to find a positive for Anaheim fans. I really am, because I'm coming down there. So is it better if they're not good that I could just easily get tickets for the games and not have to worry about it, makes them cheaper, or should I want them to be really good so there's more of an electric atmosphere in the building? That's what I'd like to see. Anyways, October 27th, these teams met in Vegas. Vegas won 5-2. Their next meeting is December 31st, which is also in Vegas. So again, these teams meet twice in about 4 days. Now, over their last 5, Riley Smith, a goal and 4 assists for Vegas. Stone, 2 goals, 5 assists. Stastny with a goal and an assist. On the blue line, Nate Schmidt with 1 assist. And Shea Theodore with 2 goals, 4 assists. In net, Marc-Andre Fleury, 2-1-1 with an .866 save percentage. Malcolm Subban has 1 win with a .974 save percentage. On the Anaheim side of things, Andre Kasha, 2 assists. Henrique, 2 goals, 2 assists. And Delorier with 1 assist and probably 9 or 10 fights over the last 5 games. It feels like every time I'm watching an Anaheim game, there's a fight breaks out, and I don't even have to look. I go, it's Delorier. And it's Delorier every time. So he knows his role. He performs it relatively well. Lindholm, 1 goal, 4 assists, 5 points altogether over his last 5. Fowler, a goal and an assist in their last 5. The reason I say Delorier performs it relatively well is because very often with guys who are really good fighters in the NHL, eventually they don't have to fight. They just have to basically be out there and teams just shy away. That's often the reputation of when somebody's a really good fighter. When you hear, well, he's not fighting this year. Yeah, because nobody wants to fight him. That's usually when you can tell. Now in net, Miller, 2 losses and an .869 save percentage over their last 5. Gibson's 2-1 with an .884 save percentage, so his numbers are better. So we'll see if that continues to be the way that it is. But for Anaheim, this is it's another off year for them. And I had thought they'd have a bounce back, and clearly that's not going to happen. So apologize to Anaheim fans for saying, they should have a bounce back. I still think that part of what's hurt Anaheim is that they fed on my hatred of the Ducks, and now that I don't really hate the Ducks anymore, I think they've lost some of their fight. That they're like, well, if he doesn't hate us, well, what's the point? So, it's just, I think it's part of it. I think that's what hurt Corey Perry, too, is that his numbers seem to take a nosedive when my absolute hatred of the team suffered. Well, if he's not going to boo me, I don't know what the point is of doing this. I'm not scoring goals at all anymore then. All right, last game of the night. And no, I haven't updated the overall playoff matchups, so don't pay any attention to this. I'm pretty sure these are pretty accurate. We're not seeing as much movement right now, but anyways, LA's in against San Jose. This one starts at 7 o'clock my time, which is Pacific, and 10 o'clock Eastern. I don't say my time like I have my own time zone. It's not a thing yet. The Kings are in against San Jose in a battle of California. Now, these teams usually don't get along very well at all. Anytime it's 2 California teams against each other, it doesn't matter if they're good, if they're great, or if they're really bad. When these games happen, there's usually some fighting, and there's usually a lot of dislike between them. These teams have very similar records. The Kings are 15-20-4 over their last 10. They're 4-4-2. So not a great record, but a heck of a lot better than the record put up by San Jose, who are 16-20-2. Over their last 10, they're 1-8-1. Yeah. I had somebody ask me yesterday, are the Sharks done? And they asked me that during the dinner we had after the meetup, and I said, yeah, I believe that. I don't see anything on this team that tells me, okay, once they get that one thing fixed, they're good. There are too many things wrong right now with San Jose for me to say, well, that one thing is their problem if they fix that one thing. And it's not goaltending, it's defense as well, and then there's a lot. So these teams met November 25th in LA. San Jose won that 4-3 in overtime. They met November 29th. San Jose won that one 4-1. And their next meeting is March 31st in LA. So this is the third of 4 meetings. And so far, San Jose's won both. We'll see if San Jose can make it 3 tonight. I'm obviously thinking that could very well happen. I just thought this would be a fun one to wear today. I don't wear this very often. We'll see if San Jose can continue their kind of dominance over LA. It's not really dominance when one of the wins was in overtime, but they've won both games. Now, scoring over their last 5, Iafallo with a goal and 3 assists, Kempe with 3 goals, and Toffoli with a goal and an assist. I keep hearing Toffoli on any visiting broadcast, so any broadcast against the Kings, announcers talk every game about Toffoli, trade, Toffoli, trade. And what Tyler Toffoli might bring back for the Kings in a trade. I will say this. There are people who are wildly overestimating what Tyler Toffoli is right now. Makes me kind of nervous, especially knowing that one of the teams that might be looking to shore up their offense might be Vancouver. Makes me a little nervous. Now, on the blue line, Doughty, 3 assists in their last 5 games, and Ben Hutton with 1 assist. In goal, Quick, 1-2 with a .905 save percentage over their last 5. Campbell, 1-0-1 with a .904 save percentage. On the San Jose side of things, Couture, 3 goals and an assist. Hurdle, 4 goals and 2 assists. Timo Meier with a goal and an assist in their last 5 games. Brent Burns with a goal and 3 helpers. Dillon with a goal and an assist. And in net, Dell's 1-2 with a .912 save percentage. Jones is 0-2 with an .855 save percentage. So again, there isn't any one thing you can necessarily point to with these guys, but there may be a finger or two pointed in the direction of Jones on any given night. And this is why Dell's kind of taken over as the starter right now. And we'll see if that continues to be the case as we go into 2020. 2020 is such a weird... coming up in the 80s and 90s, if somebody said, what's life going to be like in 2020, I would have figured, the floating cars. And I mean, the internet's pretty cool too. What I do and talking to you, find people every day is fantastic. I don't think we had... the VR thing never became what it was supposed to be. I think we all expected to be living in virtual reality worlds. Or are we already doing that now? Have we already gone into the Matrix and we don't realize it? Anyways, with that mind-blowing idea out of the way, and with these 11 games all previewed, let me know your thoughts, your winners, and all that wonderful stuff in the comment section below. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I'll talk to you again soon.